Now let's move on to working with breaks. So there are two different breaks, the page break and the section break. So first, let us start with the page break. So you can, when you say page break or a page break, is the location in a document where one page ends and a new page begins. So that's basically your page break, or you break the pages. So you can let Word determine where the break will occur, and you can also decide where to insert a manual page break or set specific options for those page breaks. Now, manual page breaks display as a single dotted line with the words page break in the center when you enable the show or hide. So for us to see the page break, let's enable the show or hide first so that we can see all the non-printing. So as you can see here, there are already sections. We already have a section break. Now for a page break, again as mentioned, it will end your page and then bring the next one to a new page. So for example, if we click on enter in this part, so we already hit that line, and then layout here, we will click on the page break. So as you can see, there is an indication right here that the page breaks, or it broke already. So your page stops with this text, and then your next page continues on with the point of separation. So that is how you can manually break pages. So is this easier, or this can be used wherein you are dealing with a lot of documents, or you would like to divide specific documents. So instead of continuously entering or clicking on enter, so that because Word already has a default page break, you can already see it here using the white space, diba? You know that this is page 1 and then this is page 2. Now if your text ends here and you are not yet half of the page, so what people normally do is that you click on enter. Okay, let's do that. You click on enter until you arrive at the next page. That's what people usually do. For your work to be more efficient, diba? So you can just simply make use of the page break. So kana siya, it would be easier for you to move on to the next page without continuously hitting the enter button. Now, the page break, here you can see different options. You have the a page, of course, again as I mentioned, inserts a manual page break, and then a column inserts a manual column break where text will begin in the next column after the column break. And then text wrapping separates text around objects on web pages such as caption text from body text. So that is your text wrapping. Now, aside from the page break, we also have section breaks. Now, section breaks, of course, it's different from page because it only deals with a separate section. So it is used to create multiple sections in the same document. So you can even create a different section on the same page, then each section have its own layout or formatting. So you can use section breaks to create a section in your document that contains a page with margins and orientations that are different from those the remainder of the page. So as you can see right here, I already have an example of a section page. So as you can see, this section, so we already have a section break from this point onward, from this point down to here. So this part right here already follows a different layout, or in this case, it's already in column form. So it has a different layout from the top and the bottom section. So that is why you can see here there is a section break. So here you can adjust. So let's try to create another section. Okay. So there are different kinds of section breaks. You have, or different types, you have the next page, continuous, even page, and odd page. When we say next page, it inserts a section break and start the new section on the next page. Now, if you say continuous, it would continue on the same page. That's why, as you can see here, it says here continuous. Now, if we click on the next page, which is what we will try. So if you see here, next page, there. See here, section break, and then next page. So that is why your next page is, or that is why your next text is found at the next page. So that is the difference between continuous and next page. Now for the even, of course, it would continue on a even numbered page, and then for odd, it would continue or start at an odd numbered page. So that is the or that is how section breaks work. Next is setting up columns. So columns are vertical blocks of text in which text flows from the bottom of one column to the top of the text. Now, newspapers, magazines, newsletters are usually presented in column forms. So, Monisha, as you can see here in this example, it's already in 2 columns. So, you can create columns using the column command again in your layout tab. So as you can see here, if you click on the drop down button, you have either 1 column, 2, 3, left or right. So you have different column options. So you can have 3, see here, you can have left or right. So you have different column options available. Again, this is very useful if you are trying to lay out something for a newspaper, a magazine, diba? Usually, as you can see, in ano na sila, naka-column base na sila. Now, you can also specify or make adjustments or customize your columns. So if you just click on manage columns, then as you can see here, diba? Ma-adjust nimo ang number of columns. And then, you also have options. If you click on line between, makakita ka sa separation between the columns. So, as here, as shown in your preview. And then, you also have options on the spaces between your columns. So, for instance, your column 1 is 7.62. So, pila man ang space between column 1 and column 2. So, in this case, it's half an inch. So, pwede na mo padakan. Diba? So, kung mo ng padakan, of course, your column width would also decrease. So, ano na siya? See? Then, you can choose where to apply it, of course, and then just click on OK. Then, as you can see right there, diba, na ang katong line in between. So, that is how you create and you format your columns. Lastly is using text boxes for layout. Now, by default, Word places the text you type directly onto the page. So, as you have learned throughout this lesson, or as what I have discussed, you can manage text placement by again changing the margin, indentions, orientation, the column setups, and so on. However, there is an alternative way for you to manage page layout in Word, where in this case, you can make use of text box or the text box command. So how do you create a text box? Now, if you go to the Insert tab, you can see here at the text group, you can see the text box. So you have options. Wait, let's make sure that you're in the okay. So you have built-in options already of what kind of text box would you like to have. So you have a simple, a syncode, a Austin sidebar, and so on. Or you can simply choose to draw your own text box. So you can just simply draw your own text box, and then Let's copy the text here. Okay, so you can choose to have a text box and then lay out the text box or place the document or lay out the document however you would like it to be. So as you can see here, once you have the text box, you have an additional tab, which is the Format tab. So here you can customize your text box as to the fill, the word art style of the text itself, the alignment, the arrangement, its wrap, and so on and so forth. So you have options. Now text box is again very useful if you are trying to create magazines, newspapers, diba? It would be easier, or the layouting job would be very much easier because you can just click and drag the text box however or wherever you would like it to be. So you can have multiple text box as you can see here. But if you are dealing with multiple information, so using the text box as a layouting tool is much more easier in comparison to um, using columns. But you are very in columns, you are somewhat limited on the type of layouting that you would want. So in text box, you can even have overlapping if you would like, if you are using pictures as well. So you can have overlapping style and so on. So using text box is again a great tool for you if you are doing some layouting works. So that is how you make use of the text box.